you, Harry. Oh, boy. It takes a lot of courage, to come up and do what Dr. Cruz just did, because a lot of people get choked up when you get close to home. And so we're going to have another close to home story. And the patient's name is Sharon. Her middle name is Wesley. My middle name is Wesley. She happens to be my mother. A few years ago, it's amazing how dates don't even mean anything after a while, A few years ago, we'll say, found out she had melanoma. And, she went through this process of staging it and all this kind of crazy stuff. And they said, well, it looks like it's stage 4 melanoma, really nothing we can do. We have some experimental therapies we can try. And experiment, well, let's look at what we can do if we just depend on the body to do what it can do when we give it everything it needs. And that's what we did. We took a trip to Arizona. She immersed herself into a 100% raw food diet. She did the intravenous vitamin C. She did all kinds of, they did rolfing, they did body work, they did colonics. It was the whole shooting match, for you throw everything at it you can. And after 6 weeks, they redo another PET scan. Tumors in the lungs are gone. Cool, right? No more metastasis to the lung. The other tumors in the chest wall, shrinking, not uptaking as much sugar as the previous ones did. Okay, cool. We continue. She continues. I believe it was about, probably 3 to 6 months later again. Time, does it exist? The next one, basically, she's down to one small little place on her chest wall. Right? Ends up about a year or so, year and a half. Finally gets another PET scan, and zero, nothing. That's impossible. You understand that? According to conventional medical belief, that's impossible. What would you call that? And what do you write down in the chart? Spontaneous remission, right? We don't have an explanation for that. It's really impossible. It's a spontaneous remission. She did this, okay? She did this with one pillar of the 3 pillars of health. That's the way we talk about it at our office. The mindset, movement, and nutrition. She did the nutrition piece. She did the biochemical piece. She changed what she put into her body. She used her metabolism. She used what science had. Because, you don't go out into the woods and get intravenous vitamin C, right? You can't eat that so we use science. We're very grateful for that. But again, she did that one pillar. And she achieved all of that. About a few days after her receiving the news of all clear, she got dizzy one night. And then next thing you know, Rebecca and I were in the ER at the U of L, came by helicopter because things just shut down completely. And it was intense, And so I signed the waiver. I said, do whatever you have to do. She had one piece. The thing about these PET CT scans, they can't see into the brain very well because the brain runs very hot. And she had one little thing that they missed, right at the base of her neck, and it kind of blew up. And so, for the next 6 months, our family got a big lesson in taking care of each other and taking care of her, because basically, now it's not just cancer, it's a traumatic brain injury on top of the cancer, and she's now trying to get all of her strength back and be able to swallow again and walk again. So we spent a lot of time, we took turns, and that's the first lesson about challenges turning into opportunities, is because it gives everybody an opportunity to deepen relationships and talk about what's important. After about 6 months, it finally just was too much for her. So she didn't make it. But that's okay. That's what I think we all have to understand, that's okay. That just was part of how it played out. If you try and control everything and you put all of your energy on controlling everything to make it work out like you want it to work out, then you're just going to make yourself sick in the process. You have to understand that you have to let go and let life do what it's going to do. I mean, you just got to stay on and enjoy the ride for as much as you can, and whatever happens, happens. Because if you start getting into the, oh man, I have to change this so I can get this, or I can change this so I can get this, I'm just saying, don't get too caught up on don't get too attached to outcomes, I guess, is one of my big lessons there. Okay? One of the other big lessons, like Dr. Cruz talked about, you got to look at these challenges as opportunities. I know that's trite, right? We always hear that. Yeah, I'm sick of hearing about all your opportunities, right? But that's the truth. You got to dig down and find the diamonds in the rough, right? So I mentioned she did one of the 3 pillars. Last month we talked about movement and understanding the importance of exercise and getting oxygen. She didn't do that piece. She just didn't. I tried my best to give her things to do. Didn't do that piece. But I don't think that was as big of a piece as the piece that she really never even went into approaching, and that is the fear. Because that's really what is the biggest, in my opinion, this is my opinion, but if you're carrying around fear, fear of what other people think, fear of starting a different career because this job is sucking my soul, right? Fear of, like I said, criticism, fear of criticism. But ultimately, I heard Deepak Chopra say this one time, that he said that ultimately all fear, all the things we fear in life, is nothing more than the fear of death. So what's the solution here? Right? It's, very simply put, overcoming the fear of death. Real easy to do, right? Let's all work on that one. But here's the other lesson about with my mom, is that I was watching that happen, and I didn't know till after the fact. I didn't realize how much she was scared of dying. And because she said every night, Dad said, Dan, is it going to get me? Is it going to get me? Am I going to die? She keeps, that was a regular conversation that never got approached and worked through and dealt with. So, the fact that happened, I'm a big fan of Carl Jung's work, the psychoanalyst, psychotherapist. And one of his big deals is you spot it, you got it, right? If someone is constantly gets angry every time you talk to them, and all you get from them is anger, guess what? It's probably you have to deal with your anger, and that's why they're showing themselves to you. Does that make sense? It's the classic psychological projection, right? But when you can look at that, and so the biggest lesson for me out of that is I have to overcome my fear of death. That's my own personal journey. And I think that is the biggest journey that we can all hope to take and overcome. And so that means you have to get detached from this little skin suit we're all wearing. This is just, if you follow quantum physics, know anything about what they say the world is, it's just, boom, we make it. It's not even real. We're snapping it into place with our brains. All there is unlimited possibilities. Anything can be anything. We snap it into place with our brain by the way we were wired through our life. So, understanding and breaking out of being attached to this stuff. And I don't know if anyone here has heard of Anita Moorjani. I'm just curious. Has anyone? So Harry has. If it would do you well to immerse yourself in her story, and so vicariously, her story through me is that she had of course, stage 4 cancer. It all seems all be about cancer, right? Stage 4 cancer, in bed, she dies, goes into a coma. She has the NDE, or the near-death experience, of guess what she experienced? So all of a sudden, the first thing she noticed was, wow, I'm really happy. I am really happy. This is unbelievable. I feel so loved. And you know what? I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to do anything. I was just loved. And you know what? I think I am love. And she just had this overwhelming, she's like, I'm not going back into that thing, right? This is too awesome. And in that realm, in the other realm, as she spoke of it, she sees, and she communicates with her father. She communicates with a friend she had seen go through cancer and die because of the chemotherapy. So she intuitively knew that she was part of them and they were part of her. And that was just what she just knew in her gut, in her soul. And her dad said, you know what, you're not done yet. You need to go back and live your life fearlessly. So once you have that taste of unconditional love and not having to do anything to get it, and feeling it and just being it, once you have that, what do you got to be afraid of when you go back to life? And she eloquently phrased it, my fear of death while I was living was really fear of life, right? That's what causes the fear of criticism and the fear of whatever. What are they going to think of me if I actually spoke my mind and lived my truth? What's inside of me that I've been burying? What will they think? Ultimately, I think that's about the fear of death. If you can overcome that, there's nothing to be afraid of. If you can, and then you just live your life fearlessly. And that's really, I guess, what my biggest take-home point is you have to touch that now. You have to find a way to touch that now. It might be through music. Perfect tool for it. You lose yourself in music and you are full of unconditional love and bliss. That's not something that your skin has anything to do with. It's a feeling. It's a feeling. That's all it is. You can get the feeling of unconditional love. And knowing that you don't have to do anything to have it. That's what you are. Right? So here's a practical take-home for you to do here, guys. Is can you, and does anyone know Louise Hay from Hay House? She's familiar with, you may be familiar with her standing up. What's the first thing you do in the morning? You get up and you look in the mirror and you say, God, I love you. Wow, you're amazing. Can you do that? And seriously look yourself in the eye and do that. Because if you can't have self-love, you can't have that same unconditional love for other people. Most of the time we just loathe ourselves, don't we? You know, we do. Wake up in the morning, what's the first few things coming out of your mind a lot of times? Oh man, why didn't I do that? I got to do this. I'm so stupid. And you think 60 thoughts before you even turn over in bed, right? So you stop yourself. That's that mindfulness that Dr. Johnson was talking about. Stopping yourself and becoming mindful of what's going on, that crazy chatter in your head. These just deceptive brain patterns. That means nothing. Wow. How can I serve today? Who can I love today? And let's start by looking in the mirror and telling myself how much I love myself. So that's your challenge. When you wake up in the morning, catch yourself, because there'll be a few rattles that go on sometime, right? Until you train yourself. And pretty soon you train yourself and automatically you wake up, get up in the mirror, start your day like that, guess what? You've got a lot better chance at seeing that unconditional love in other people, that peace in other people. Okay? So, and that's what you have to do. Once you develop that in yourself, then that's what you see in every person you come in contact with. They may be going ma, 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 and giving you some anger or giving you some sadness or giving you their story about their sickness or their illness. You just focus on their heart and the gold. And probably the best way to end this is with a Neil Young quote. Who else, right? I want to live. I want to give. I've been a miner for a heart of gold. One of his most famous songs, Heart of Gold. Right? Be a miner for a heart of gold in yourself and in other people. Okay? Thank you guys. God bless.